across the battleground states, there is a 10-point gender gap. Women account for 55% of the early vote, men 45%. We don't know who they're voting for. In some states, remember I said you should be excited if there were more Democrats voting. We don't have that. But we do have, in some states, women are actually exceeding their vote share from 2020. That's according to that Tom Bonnier, Democratic strategist. However, low propensity Republican voters, that means those who did not cast a ballot in the 2020 election, but were registered with the party, are also voting at higher rates than Democrats in North Carolina and Arizona by 2,000 and 4,000 respectively. Again, you can come up with some type of projection in your head and model as to what that means, but it's going to be dicey because we're not talking apples to apples. We had a pandemic last time. It's hard to know. Unless, of course, you're Dave Rubin and you have your thinking cap on and you are ruminating about these things because you have time to fill and all you're thinking about is how you're not getting that extra $400,000 a month from your Russian benefactors.
The Democrats are so for early voting, so for mail-in ballots. It's like, well, doesn't that in and of itself lend itself to a certain amount of cheating? Because now somebody, some election official knows the results. Somebody's been counting things and has numbers in advance.
Pause it for 1 second.
Why?
It's so good.
He's just started.
It's so good.
Aside from all the facts that more Republicans are early voting and than they did in 2020, would suggest that maybe the Republicans have decided to cheat. The other thing is that this brainiac doesn't apparently know is that in Pennsylvania you're not even allowed to count these ballots before Election Day.
Well, I mean, besides that.
But also, these same people could cheat on Election Day. I just need a ramp up to know how much.
I mean, they have some sense of honor. They'll do the cheating, but Election Day they keep sacred.
They won't know. They won't know exactly the number they need to cheat until, I think that's his argument. Let's see where he's going with this.
Knows the results. Somebody's been counting things and has numbers in advance. And then a pipe bursts in Pennsylvania, and we have to stop in the middle of the election night when everything seems like it's looking for Trump. I don't know any more than any of you do as to the specifics
Actually,
of what.
No, I would suggest that he knows a lot less than almost anybody who can hear the sound of his voice. Go back just a bit.
We have to stop in the middle of the election night when everything seems like it's looking for Trump. I don't know any more than any of you do as to the specifics of whatever happened that night or anything else. But again, I think it goes to why I showed you the video of the Michigan Attorney General before. The more they put just the questions into the system, put all these odd things. Everyone can vote early and you don't need an ID and we won't have results on election night until you'd have to almost be an idiot to believe any of it works. And then once you don't believe in it, to roughly quote Padme Amidala from the prequels, if you don't believe in it, it doesn't, that's what, then you're pretty much screwed. I think that's what she said, or something like that.
So let me get this straight.
Why does it always go to children's movies at the end?
In Pennsylvania, they count the ballots beforehand so that a pipe can break at night and they can know exactly how many ballots they need to fabricate to win the election. He does not know that Pennsylvania, in particular, because Republicans will not allow ballot counting before the day of election, even though they have the ballots early, probably 1/3 at least of the ballots in, they don't count them. Therefore, Pennsylvania is always late in their tally, which he's complaining about, too. So he both doesn't want them to count the ballots beforehand, but to count all the ballots there. Meanwhile, Republicans are attacking election officials because people like him are talking about broken pipes, very suspicious. So they can't get enough people to count the ballots because everybody's terrified of getting attacked by lunatics like him. For 2 election workers in Georgia, incidentally, it worked out well because they now own Rudy Giuliani's a Mercedes-Benz that was formerly owned by Lauren Bacall. But this guy can't even get through a 1.02-second clip without contradicting himself 3 different ways. Like, talk about mailing it in, buddy. Your ballot's being mailed in. Nobody's even counting it. That's how much you're mailing it in.
It's got toddlers now.
Honestly, it's exhausting to have kids. If I had twins, forget it. I mean, he does feel like he's just sort of like sailing into retirement. But there it is. I mean, and I don't know about Star Wars. People are basically Edward Gregorian. His stupidity is simply mesmerizing. That's why I chose him. I just let this moron say and do whatever. He's not changing any opinions. This one was just for me. Kind of like Rod Dreher's ex-millionaire. That's fantastic. Ding. Dave Rubin basically saying Florida's cheating since they can count ballots once received instead of starting on election day. Amazing. Amazing. Honestly, it's amazing. He dresses so well. I wonder if he's able to even dress himself. I wonder if he has the level of intelligence that he's actually can even dress himself. Or does he have valets now, provided by Edward Gregorian? Hey, Donald Trump has once again told us just how far he's willing to go to get his way. The other day, he suggested the use of military force on election day and after against the enemy from within, or known as left-wing Americans. Everyone knows it was his base that stormed the Capitol, but that's not stopping the right from reporting Trump's supporters aren't the ones to worry about. But the great thing about ground news is no matter what article you see first, you're going to get instant access to every other perspective reporting on it. So in there, you will find the truth. Now, we keep working with our longtime sponsors because A, they're independent, B, they're nonpartisan, and C, they're dedicated to exposing any hidden agenda that's influencing the news you consume. This way, you get media literate. You can follow their newsletters or check out their app and their website. Easily stay informed through diverse and credible sources. Plus, for me, my Vantage plan gets me access to features designed to expose opposing narratives that are exclusively circulating in their bubble and also expose me to ones that I may be stuck in a bubble of, my own blind spots. So we all know Trump and his base are only going to ramp up the lies. Go to ground.news/majority or scan my QR code for credible news you can trust and confidently share with others. My viewers get a massive discount on the same top-tier Vantage plan I use every day. With everything at stake, we can't afford not to pay attention. Subscribe today because the fight for democracy doesn't stop after November 5th. It's just getting started. Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.